This research article by Daron Acemoglu and Pasquale Restrepo from MIT and Yale offers a very interesting perspective on whether in the long run we will see that capital is going to completely replace human labor or whether human labor will keep staying important. They basically, in this research article, these researchers argue that there's a race between capital, which will save jobs, which will replace, in a sense, jobs, but at the same time, new machines and new innovations offer the opportunity for the creation of new professions, of new occupations that are complementary to this new type of machine, new type of capital that is introduced in the economy. So then the question is quantitative in a sense. Will be the impact of new capital and labor-saving technologies be stronger than the impact on labor of this new occupation that pop up every time new forms of capital are introduced? What it seems to be true so far, and the historical experience seems to be telling us that so far new occupations have kept up with the increase of capital available in the economy. In particular, the key graph of this research report is represents occupation in different decades. So if we look carefully in slide 14, we see a bunch of circles. Each circle in the graph represents an occupation in a given decade, and the size of the circle is proportional to the importance of the occupation in terms of general employment. On the horizontal axis, we have the share of new job titles at the beginning of each decade, and on the vertical axis, we have the percent change in employment by decade in each occupation. So the idea is that there's a positive relationship between the share of new job titles at the beginning of each decade and the change in employment per occupation at the beginning of each decade. So the idea is occupations that create new titles, say computer engineers, didn't exist in the 1960s, but then as computers become an important part of production, then we have computer engineers and coders and data scientists that enter occupations that before didn't have them. Okay, so these graphs again represents this positive relationship between the changes in job in given occupations and the number of new tasks, the number of new job titles that are created. So this suggests that as new technologies are introduced, occupations become more complex and call for new type of skilled occupations. And we see that given that there's this positive correlation in the data between the change in employment and the share of new job titles, it seems to be true that occupations that create new job titles, which are the occupations that are the most affected by technological change, are also the occupations that are seeing the highest employment growth.